are just the principle, understanding. Just the principle, understanding your love is the hope, the grace, the constant, the place from deep inside of yourself. You don't ever want to let it go. There's a place where you can find your love, peace inside your hope. And your grace, you can part the tree and the pavement. Look at you, the gentleman. Be so like a crown of glitter in the beautiful. Always quietly in a rave for the ways of the image. Maybe the postman, what he said, what did you glitter when he walked? Every grace, every mind, every thought, and everyone in this place, everything to make it fine for the working of the waiting for the light. Calmer summer nights, the thoughts of the head, the realization of the dream, observation of the soul, the rest, the arrive from the place where the face of the home, for the recall of the soul, the laugh, the real laughs with you, the weep, the deep alone for the sad earth, the world, it's burning. Lost in the air, the echoes of now, the joyful sound of the bush you hear, the voice of the kid with the rejoicing, the men will seek inside you, breathe, they turn. Be glad, your friends, be sad, decline for the wine for the alcohol, straight with the yell for the feast of the hell, of the ground for the west. Fast, maybe, go by, because I see, helping you, the man can you help you die, because the cause of ready. You form the life for the large, train yourself to be inspired for every pound of the narrow, ounce of pain to easy, growing pain to do. Ways and hows, the headaches and woes, the rain, the hours of those who find, for those who live, no man can help you. Without dying, you can try. But the world goes by, there is room for the consciousness of Christ. There's room for you and the family, your friends. You alone for the torment, for the young, and you were not the pleasure that you were. Give me the passion with the coming of the spirit, the sorrow that cannot awaken the heart for the joy, the same tone for thy love and not enough. Down for the most stormy light, for the drawn for every depth, the love's good hill for the mystery. Blind to be still, and blind to be to the door, with the fountain is the red cliff. Maybe for the sun that can crawl, the crawl me rolling in the south of lightning in the sky, passing me flying by the with the clouds, with the finest shapes and the view. Respect that allows your imagination finds it. Understanding can give imagination with the root, the finger, the layer, the air, for the ground, for the spring, the understanding what you get. Confined for me for the padding of the self, for the moment of the free. That will be the demon I cannot see, for the demon I should be from the inside the shadows, and 3 times for the light. Now I find that speaking to the trail, great for the sight, for the dark and distance of the train, for the hopping of the night. Curse for the rain, can't sleep for the inspiration of the song, the spirit. If it's the uplifting with the night. Feel what I see when gradually.
Life without love.
But I have no preconceptions of whatever the spark of
just insane.
life for the and the rest for the eye, the little guy for the four corner walls in time for the mediator.
Love without love.
The power of the mind for the flicker and the face of darkness to separate over us and you. Can now find out and relate for the ends and over for the
And I wish I could change.
to bring the candles in the room and see the reflection back.
Probably just stay the same. And I wish you could see the Lord. But this song is a joke, and the melody I wrote.
yourself, you don't ever want to let it go, there's a place where you can find love, peace inside your home. This is more than your embrace. You can find the tree in the pavement. Look at you, the gentleman. Be so like a crown of feathers. Always gladly narrate. There's a demon if you talk. Maybe the closer that he saves in the morning, everywhere he walks. Every grace, every fine, every talk, everyone in this place.
And you can't see me,
Waiting for the light. The calmer summer night.
'cause I live in a different age.
Thoughts in the head. Realization of the need. Conservation of the soul. The rest of the arrived in the place where face the lonely. I've been calling it the sorrow.
But you wouldn't know what to say.
The world laughs with you. The weak alone for the sad earth and borrow its burden.
But you should believe me.
Sing the hills of the ants at the side. Lost in the air for the echoes of down to the joyful sound of the bush shaking. The voice of the kid with the rejoicing the men will seek inside you. Grieve, they return, go on. Full measure of your
Like
pleasure
a
can
life without love.
Decline for the next is blind for the aldo. Must drink what they go for the feasting of the hailing of the crowd for these was fast meet the world go by to succeed for the helping of the you to live for the man can you help you die for the rumors of the halls of pleasure. If I'm at a life for the large for the only way to train yourself with you must smile for these are known. Knowing every pound to the narrow ounce of pains and these are the growing pains and the ways and holes and hows for the headaches and woes. This is the way, the pain, the grain. The aisles of those, the file for those who live for the way can help you live without that. You try. You won't. The road goes by. There's room for the consciousness of Christ. There's room for you and the family, your friends, and you alone for the torment of the decades, and you were not the patient that you will learn to be the passion with the coming of the spring. The sorrow that cannot awaken the heart for the joy. The same tone for that love from not alone. The dawn for the months of stormy life for the drawn for every depth that was good ill for the mystery. Lines be still, but binds be to the total of the fountain. This is the red cliff. Maybe for the sun that could crawl to call me rolling in and sound the lightning of the sky. Passing me flying by the thunder with the clouds for the finer shapes and the view. At a perspective that allow your imagination to find time. Understand again your mind. Imagination with the breath. The finger of the lingering there for the arrival. Understanding what you get. Confined for me for the patting of the self for the only let me free. Cruel that will be for the young. The demon I cannot see for the demon I should be for the inside the shadows and 3 times for the light. Thou find out, speaking to the troubles. Ring for the sight for the darkened distance of the train for the hollering of the night. Courage for the brain, can't sleep for the inspiration of the soul, the spirit. Maybe it's the uplifting for the night. You can feel what I see when graduating from the dome. As a mirror, for the have no preconceptions of whatever the swallowing immediately it must be amidst it or this life for the cruel and trustful. The eye, the little guy for the four corner most of the time for the mediator of the opposite wall for the pink. The spectacles and only so long. The power for the mind for the flicker and facing darkness and separate over us and you. Can now find Adam and the late for the bending over for the reaching of the what you to be for those who be the candles in the moon for the scene of reflection that. You are just. You are just.
It's about integrity.
You are just.
Reflection of the moon, silver inside. Have no preconceptions, whatever you seek is one with your time for the mediation is the opposite. Now I'm a late. Woman bends over me, searching my reaches for what she really is. For that she turned to those liars. Candles to the moon, to see her on the back, reflected faithfully. You wars for the me, for the tears, I can of the hands. I'm important to she. Maybe because she come and go. Each morning for the face, for the replacing of the darkness in me. She drowned for the young girl, for the bee. Rise 12 the day after the terrible. Sun at the evacuation of the morning. The principle. This is the moment when after pass, for that you can find the breaking of the age. The breaking of the depression with the circus tent for the hurricane. Designed for the drunken guy, for the extravagant, the heart blows up again. With the brand page for the champagne club, with the brain for the fragments of the word. Weather, vein like with the angels of the boy. Maybe the daring for the death of the debonair, for the inviting of the lions, stand for the rose of the Japanese flame. Inside of the hair for the active flourishing of the whip of the total flare. Bending the perilous wounds for the wounds of chair, for the wild, the gonings of the love again, for the mocking of the mist. mockeries of the eclipse, with the magicians in the disguise, like a demon of the doom, with the tilting of the trapeze, for the witching of the rabbits, with revolving over the knees and the vanishing over the devilish ease. These smoking, the sears in the side of my eyes, cause these rings, cause these things for the third trinity, the understanding of who can poem reflect. The dog who has died, for the dyslexic, for the autistic, for the rusted old machine, for the dog, for the daily, for the shaggy coat, for the materialist who believed in everything, the promise in heaven and sky, for the human being who believed in heaven but never entered.
Just the principle.
The dogma, for the waiting, for the fan, for the tale, for the friendship, the speaking in the sadness, here, hearing the song, for the having a companion, maybe the survey, what you can find a friendship with, never hear you. Withholding to the authority, authenticity, get the friendship of a star. Maybe you could look for the intimacy in whatever you are. Call for no exaggeration, to call for my clothing, my hope, my never rubbing against the need for the understanding of the prayer. For the meditation of the van is never impersonally in vain, for the passion, the understanding that was the wasting time, for the gazing at me, for the reservations you me alone can never find. You traveling in the meaning, loving myself. For never understanding the sea, for the movement of the birds filling the skies, and maybe the wings that help love her high, for the face of the ocean, the spray for the joy.
You
autonomous,
just
maybe the shame, the spirit.
Understanding
maybe there's
your
no
love
goodbyes for the O's,
is
understanding who
love.
died for theirs and never died for each other, for he was going to bury them. Maybe
just
the odds
the
to it, I come back like
understanding
the living
your love
alive. More spirit than I can never be for infamous. Maybe who's be for the regular man, I can moan more the bells can sing for the side of the stars, or overwrinkled with the crystalline delight for eye stork. Intimidation with this rhyme for the jingling, and understanding with the melody, and understanding
just the principle, understanding your love.
For the melting golden notes, for the
It's
other tone,
the hope,
for the
grace,
for the sounding of these syllables, and the
inside of yourself.
swelling, dwelling into the future and the
don't
present.
ever wanna
Now
let
for
it
the
go.
me, the rhyming, for the eyes and the and terror for the night. Speaking the horror for tears and over those that appealing to the mercy of the fire, for the black, for the exalting and frantic, leaping high. Desperate for the desire, for the side, for the pace of the face of the moon, for the deeds of the terror hearts of the disparities. Blossom your precipitation, these are clamor your understanding of only your distinctively your wrangling. Danger enough to find a shiver for the affright, melancholy for the menace of the tone, resting for the throats and the groan. People live for the dwelling of the steeple, for the alone, for the telling of the people, the glory of the rolling, and these are your only human ways of you and finding me a king. Pleasant, pleasant, for the dazzle, for the dancing, for the yelling, for the keeping good time, for the running, for the rhyme, for the peanut, for the keeping, for the understanding, the throbbing of the sobbing of the tears, for the maybe the kneeling of the prayers, maybe the rhyme, for the rolling of the bells, to the hanging on the moans, to the groans. These are the same songs you can find through the eves and the woes, the headaches, the pain, the heartache, the lessons, the gains, the imagination, the lessons, the collections, the made of dust, for the drop, for the stone, for the sticks of wood, for the center with the roofs of fire, the fire, and inside of my eyes, for the camp mountain ranges behind the understanding the sunset. Snarl, rattle, understanding but what be gone, be half an hour for the I can count, save for the work that I do besides to no apron. Maybe the recipient for the scene too deep for the heart to give a hand, for this is what we need, the confused rowdy needy for the hand. We swung towards them for the open appealing. Maybe for the pacifist, we passed that fist. Life for the spilling, for the only he knew for the new. The spoiled one for the only crying. For that had ended too long for the building of that block. We're not to dead for the turning of the fairs. This for the understanding for God is coming back and no one cares to outcry.
I out define a better peace of mind with the happiness. I out define a better peace of mind with the happiness. Another person's sorrow is not mine to borrow. Or can I seek another's grief for the seeking of the kind of relief that I can fall for the falling tear for the not mine to share maybe? Or can I find the father to see the child weep? Sorrow for the feeling of the mothers that sat in here. The infant fear me now I can smile for the lone for the only birds can grief. Care for the hear the woes of the infants and the bears that sit beside the necks with the boring pity. Maybe the Ariel is the breast with the infants and you can find the breasts. Maybe the wound, the sucking of the hunger, become the man's voice for the foreign sorrow. The maker for the door for the not to cast a weep or tear. Or maybe the giving of the joy for the understanding the grief it may not destroy the tears for the grief for the gone, for the gone, for the moan, the same song, same learn, same lesson, same rhyme, same pediment. You're synonymous with the life and synchronistic moving energy for the corruption that's holding. Sit out and look out for the oppression and the shame and secret, the convulsing sighs for young men, anguish with themselves for the remorseful deeds and done. See for the low life and unmisused, maybe the neglect for the despair, and desperate, rankling and jealousy and inadequate. Attempt to define your marking for the rankings, sight for the earth for the workings of the persistence. Eye for the martyr for the prisoners, maybe for the walking in the battle for the preserver, the casting of who. You can find a slight degradation. Cast for the arrogant, maybe the person who labor. Maybe they pawn the Negroes and niggas. Maybe the meanest in the agony without that in the city to look upon. Sit here and I look inside the silence. Maybe I can see the sound for the here. Maybe this is something when they're realizing that this series and dries up for the raising of the sun. Maybe they're stinking of the rotten meat for the crust and find that beef. Maybe it's a sag and a heavy load, it doesn't matter. Maybe this is the ether inside of my melanin, I'm just light skinned. Dried up and like an understanding that I can never go on forever. I will be immortal for the possibilities of making the positivity, the importance of the pursuing the dreams. These are the diamond revelations of myself. These are the understanding of my hell. These are the understanding of my song will only dream for so long. You could bury it underground with the rest of the body parts, and these would never perish. These would never perish. These were the important ways to find a contribution for the life of the only revolution. This will not be shared. I will be a part of regurgitation and experience the recycle. This is not for your environment. I'll be the product of the adaptation. You can add it up for the counting of the bookmark. This is the numbers that you can find. Ignore what you call life or the importance, what you call the dream, the contribution, what you can experience. This is the perception of what you have. This is the understanding what you can have, and be glad for the understanding what happens is for the reason for you to be the reason to cause it. I am in the closet, but this is not me being happy. This is the true meaning of life and understanding that I am for the season of grief for the skies decide designed to fly by to destined to be. You will never see me in the end. I can remember the day we met. Though fill me with so much regret. The first you gave me comfort for the numbing and the pain, for the light you gave me faded, for the brought the blackness to the veins, for the traffic, the works to fall in one fall, when no one's left to call, for the dragon, the rock bottom, for the each day, for the hell new, for the possibility, the dependence upon you. Every day thinking of it, put the mind in the find the time to die, you can find itself, for the stealing of the soul, for the only tragedy of the way. Tried to take the screen for the round, eventually maybe the fate more and warm. Maybe it was too late for the silence, and you only had an effect for you to lock me into the cell. Battered for the bruise and the number for the scar for the wasting of the years. Flew like potions, and everybody's looking like zombies. Any time for the future for this world to meet for the race, for the shred, for the hope. Everyone turned their backs to the difficulty enough to escape for the dark hole, for the cope. Impossible to defend. Go against the attacks, but I knew. Maybe we went to church with no God. Maybe the ultimate power with no way. No, we real. No, we rotted. We dead flower. The one day that happened, the most amazing moments. Then bringing these side and ever complete the irony. Maybe the mercy, the longer will over. Shake pieces of the stolen all these years from them. We can take it life.
ride for the years of the dealing with the pain, for the shallow with the pride. Maybe the rubble of difficulty at the ride. Maybe the killing of the given, the wind gladly dive and destined to fly for soaring, laugh and smile, breathing my life once more for the becoming. Me the holy, holy rose to fire, I and I. That's it.
Levei as minhas roupas embora, levei algumas suas também. Passei a chave embaixo da porta, na rua não passava ninguém. Deixei ficar um tempo distante, deixei minha saudade pra lá. E mesmo sem ouvir o seu nome, seu rosto estava em todo lugar. Pra me ver chorar, ou só pra me ver partir. Hoje eu aprendi. Levei as minhas roupas embora, levei algumas suas também. Passei a chave embaixo da porta, na rua não passava ninguém. Deixei minha saudade distante, deixei minha saudade pra lá. E mesmo sem ouvir o seu nome, seu rosto estava em todo lugar. Levei as minhas roupas embora, levei algumas suas também. Passei a chave embaixo da porta, na rua não passava ninguém. Deixei ficar muito distante, deixei deixei minha saudade pra lá. E mesmo sem ouvir o seu nome, seu rosto estava em todo lugar. Pra me ver chorar, ou só pra me ver partir. Hoje
like a life without love. God, that's just
hoje eu aprendi.
what a love without love. That just happens every day. And I wish I could change, but I'll probably just stay the same. And I wish you could sing along, but this song is a joke, and the melody I wrote. Oh, you can't hear me, 'cause I sing to a different end. And you should fear me, 'cause I believe in a different end.
That mark is an entrance, be the influential way to philosophy, way to understanding, way to demanding the metaphysical, the good life, the understanding that you have noble moments inside of your imagination for the happiness is not the ideal reason. You would be cruel to who becomes hard to also dealing with the man for the can't judge the man by the treatment of the science, organized with the knowledge, wisdom, organized with the life. Throughout the life of the content to the empty intuitions without the concepts of the blind. Subliminal enough to find the experience with the theory, without the experience of mutual. Intellectual play with the understanding that you are nothing more than your moral of a theory. Running around with your conceptions, does not believe in something besides yourself, or are you and your concepts too empty? These are the facts. These are the understandings that you can find. Places in now time. It's not on your side if you don't find your way of understanding that you are not intellectual in any circumstances with the dealing of you and the treatment of your intellect, mind, spec, in a universal law for the intelligence with the guidance of another. This is the understanding for the organization, the two things, and making yourselves happy, but how do we find the worthy of this, for the law, for the man, for the guiltiness of the violation of the rights, for the others to find these ethics, or the work he thinks he is, for the realization of you? I'm not too keen of understanding your freedom of thoughts, or the content behind that, and maybe the principles you should not teach. You should maybe learn to sit back at the desk and listen with the ears that work. Need to do the work if you want the change. Realize coming to the understanding that comes with inevitable. It's constant. It moves. Vibrates. It's linear. Time cap. Predicament. The project, the three to Keats. Definitely revolutionize yourself. For then doubt your can'ts can turn to pure reason. Why you can't. Entrance be the influential way to philosophy, way to understanding. way to demanding the metaphysical, the good life, the understanding that you have noble moments inside of your imagination for the happiness is not the ideal reason. You would be cruel to who becomes hard to also dealing with the man for the can dress the man by the treatment of the science, organized for the knowledge, wisdom, organized with the life. Throughout the life of the content to the empty intuitions without the concepts of the blind. Subliminal enough to find the experience of the theory. Entrance be the influential, way to philosophy, way to understanding, way to demanding the metaphysical, the good life, the understanding that you have noble moments inside of your imagination for the happiness is not the ideal reason. You would be cruel to who becomes hard to also dealing with the man for the can dress the man by the treatment of the science, organized for the knowledge, wisdom, organized with the life. Throughout the life of the content to the empty intuitions without the concepts of the blind. Subliminal enough to find the experience with the theory, without the experiences mutually. Intellectual play for the understanding that you are nothing more than your moral of a theory. Running around with your conceptions. Does not believe in something besides yourself, or are you and your contents too empty? These are the facts. These are the understandings that you can find. Places in now time. Is not on your side of you. Don't find your way. Understanding that you are not intellectual in any circumstances with the dealing of you and the treatment of your intellect, mind, spec, in a universal law for the intelligence with the guidance of another. This is the understanding for the organization of the two things, making yourselves happy, but how do we find the worthy of this, for the law, for the man, for the guiltiness of the violation of the rights, for the others to find these ethics, or the work he thinks he is, for the realization of you? I'm not too keen of understanding your freedom of thoughts, or the content behind that, maybe the principles you should not teach. You should maybe learn to sit back at the desk and listen with the ears that work. Need to do the work if you want the change, realize coming to the understanding that comes with inevitable. It's constant. It moves, vibrates, and linear. Time cap, predicament, the project, the three to Keats. Definitely revolutionize yourself. For then doubt your can'ts can turn to pure reason. Why you can't. Entrance be the influential, way to philosophy, way to understanding, way to demanding the metaphysical, the good life, the understanding that you have noble moments inside of your imagination for the happiness is not the ideal reason. You would be cruel to who becomes hard to also dealing with the man for the can dress the man by the treatment of the science, organized for the knowledge, wisdom, organized with the life. Throughout the life of the content to the empty intuitions without the concepts of the blind. Subliminal enough to find the experience with the theory, without the experiences mutually. Intellectual play for the understanding that you are nothing more than your moral of a theory. Running around with your conceptions. Does not believe in something besides yourself, or are you and your contents too empty? These are the facts. These are the understandings that you can find. Places in now time. Is not on your side of you. Don't find your way. Understanding that you are not intellectual in any